welcome back to Send Them Off. Yet another pre-season preview, and we're back in the Midlands. We've done the Villa, West Brom, obviously down. So there's only one left. The mighty Wolves. My name is Sam, and joining me as always is my ever-present podcasting partner, Alex.
Here we are again. I've run out of I've run out of things to say now, but of course we're not alone. You all know that. Sam, do your thing.
Yeah, today we're joined by Wolves fan and a man from Talking Wolves. So go give them a follow. We'll plug them at the end. Dave, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Looking forward to it.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So I kind of want to start with some transfer business. So Rui Patricio's gone. Jose Sarr is in. Upgrade or downgrade?
Not sure. Patricio was a hell of a signing, at the time for a team that would just come up from the Premier League. That was our first transfer window. We'd signed, Patricio, Moutinho, and just like, a few years before we were in League One. Just imagine like you playing FIFA or whatever. Your mate said, "Oh, they'll join Wolves in a few years." You tell them to shut up. So yeah, at the time it was a phenomenal signing, and I personally think he's been good for Wolves over the last few years. He had a little bit of stick last season, but I think a lot of players did, to be fair. So when obviously the news came out, it was, when Mourinho went to Roma, there was about 4 or 5 Wolves players that were very quickly rumoured to join them, but that one just never went away, really. And then when the likes of Fabrizio Romano don't shut up about it, it's going to happen. So yeah, that one was probably one of the most dragged out transfer rumours we've had as Wolves fans for the last few years. But it's difficult to say. I've not really been able to see much of Jose Sarr, obviously, because he was never really first choice at Porto. And he's been playing in Greece, albeit done all right in Greece. But then, the next thing you look at is the international stage, and Patricio's just been number 1 all the time for Portugal, really. And Jose Sarr's number 3 and didn't even get in the Euro squad this year. So when you look at it that way, a lot of Wolves fans probably think it's a downgrade, but it's hard to say at this stage. Sarr's got a few years on Patricio. From the pre-season friendlies, he's done okay. But I suppose we're not going to know until the Premier League kicks off.
Yeah.
Just got one question. Just one question quickly about Rui Patricio.
Yeah.
Why number 11? Does anyone know?
Yeah. It was because of Carl. Is it Carl Ikemi?
Ikemi, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Ikemi had leukemia and had to retire.
And that was his number, was it?
He was number number 1. So
I see.
They sort of said they would retire the number 1 jersey. I don't know why 11 though. Obviously, he got a lot. I understand why people, didn't get it. But yeah, 11's a bit
baffled me. I didn't have a clue why he chose. He could have gone for any goal. Typical goal.
So
just
that had been
one of them things
for like 4 years. We didn't have a number 1. But now he tweeted before, when it was pretty clear Patricio was going, Ikemi tweeted and he says, "I want the next goalkeeper to have the number 1 shirt." So that's Jose Sarr's the new number 1 now.
Oh, there we are. Let's squash that.
Yeah. The other one I want to ask you about is, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of his name, but Francisco Trincao. I think that's what he's saying.
I think that was bang on. That's how I'd say it. Anyway.
There we are. Bang on. Yeah, he's meant to be promising. Obviously, he went to Barcelona from, I think it was Benfica last year, wasn't it, or year before?
Braga, yeah.
Was it Braga? Yeah. Pretty big fee. And now he's at Wolves, so we'll see how that pans out. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean that was a big signing as well. Like you say, was at Braga, very very highly sort of rated there, and then Barca. I don't want to say overspent on him because I think he's a good player and worth a bit of money, but they went through their normal, we'll buy any half decent wonder kid around Europe, and I think they've had to panic to sell him. So we've got him on loan with an option to buy at the end of the season. Hard to say in pre-season. He's been a little bit underwhelming. I still think he's looked okay, but I'd probably expect a little bit more. But I suppose when you come into a new country and new team, it's going to take you a little bit to settle in. But that one came out of the blue. I am looking forward to seeing how he gets on. There was little whispers at the start of the window, but you don't really look. When it's some publications in sport in Spain and they're trying to flog every Barca player off, you don't take much notice of it. And there were no reports or rumours close to it. And a Sunday morning, Wolves just dropped it like that, and everyone was like, "Whoa!" So yeah, big signing. Look, like I say, looking forward to him. A little bit underwhelming in pre-season, but I think that's probably a bit too harsh on me. But yeah. Him. Yeah, we've got some good wide players. Adama Traore if he stays. Trincao, Neto when he's back fit. Pedence. We've got some decent attacking wingers.
Yeah, and if we're talking attack, then Raul Jimenez back scored his first goal this weekend. I'd love to see him get back.
It's good to see him back, innit? It is. Good
and
to
you
see him
are,
back.
with all due respect, crying out for it because your top scorer was Neves
100%.
last year, wasn't he? With about 5 goals.
5 goals,
like
yeah. That's embarrassing for like a relegation side, a top goal scorer in 5. Like that's why I remember when we were last in the Premier League and got relegated, you have like Kevin Doyle on 7 goals, and I thought that was bad.
Oh my gosh, that's a name I haven't heard in ages. Wow.
This is my claim to fame. Do you remember the Match of the Day magazine?
Yeah.
Used to do back in the day. I sent in a question on how to improve my left foot, and Kevin Doyle answered me.
Did he?
Yeah, my name was in the magazines. That's my claim to fame. So,
he lied to you, whatever he said.
I can't use my right foot, let alone my left. Horrific. Your attack though is promising, and to be fair, your defense is strong. But one name I picked out in the middle, it's not Neves, it's not Moutinho. There's 2 Swansea fans. This man holds a very special place in our heart. Morgan Gibbs-White. He was like Lionel Messi when he played.
Genuinely one of the best footballers I've seen at the Liberty Stadium in such a long time. It was such a shame that his loan was cut short because he was so silky on the ball. He was brilliant.
Us a better team, didn't he?
Genuinely did. Every time he picked the ball up, something would happen.
I've got no doubt that we'd be in the Premier League this year if
he had stayed.
The entire season.
Yeah. It's weird on Morgan because I've known of Morgan through like family, friends and stuff for years.
We got Morgan's mate. Hello. Do me a favor.
Send him the Zoom link.
Yeah, send him to Zoom. We'll get him back on the Liberty.
No, it was a weird one because he obviously was very highly rated by Wolves and sort of just I felt like he went off road a little bit just with obviously he went to the under-17s World Cup, won that, and then I think he looked at the likes of Phil Foden and Jadon Sancho were in that team and thinking he probably should have be where they were as well at the time. To be honest, I don't think Wolves' systems and managers helped him because he was like in and out the team all the while. And then unfortunately, got caught out during lockdown, last year as well. He got a lot of stick for that. So I think the move to Swansea came at a good time. And a lot of Wolves fans were sort of glad to see the back of him, as mad as it sounds. And then obviously did well with you guys, had that injury. I think it was a bit bad of Nuno to recall him, really, because he didn't use him as much as he should have done, really. But this pre-season has been phenomenal, honestly. Arguably our best player this pre-season.
So he really is quality.
Mate, just like got a... Because the thing with Morgan, I would always put him down as like a number 10, like an attacking.
I'm sorry, I love how you just call him Morgan. I absolutely love that.
I would always say he's down as like a number 10. I think he's a little bit too lightweight to be like a holding midfielder. And Wolves have, especially under Nuno, just never played with that sort of style of play. But he's played almost like as an inside forward this pre-season, and he just looks a yard quicker than he ever has. He just looks so much more confident on the ball. To be fair, he missed a half decent chance yesterday, but just getting in the positions that he's getting in now, it could be a massive season for him. Honestly, really good.
I'd love to see that.
I'd love to see it. You mentioned the system under Nuno. Obviously, new coach this year, Bruno Lage. I think I pronounced that correctly.
Lage.
I thought it was Lager last week until I was corrected.
The first time he got announced, I did a video and I think I pronounced it about 6 different ways. Yeah. Throughout the video.
Apparently his system's a little different, a bit more attacking. I don't know if you've seen in pre-season. Any preliminary thoughts on that, if you like?
Yeah. So when he was at Benfica, he played like an attacking 4-4-2. And won the league. I think he came to them halfway through the season, finished unbeaten, won the league, and all the Wolves. That's sort of all we've got to go off, really. All the Wolves fans rubbing their hands together. Oh, here we go, like attacking football. Because Nuno, like last season, it was really poor, really defensive football, and it's been weird. Like it's definitely been a change. The first couple of games we played like a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, but the last couple of games he's tried like a 3 at the back again. Which it's still a different sort of style to how Nuno had a setup, but still as fans, when you've seen that for the last few years, and especially last season when it went a bit pear-shaped, you want to see something a bit different. So against Coventry yesterday, we played like a 3-4-3 almost. The wing-backs were really attacking, which was good. It was genuinely a 3 at the back. But it still just wasn't enough going forward for me. I think we need more in the midfield, and I think that's what a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 can offer. So yeah, at the moment I'm not 100% sure. I think he needs to nail down his formation. But our last preseason friendly is on Saturday against who is it now? Celta Vigo, I think. So pretty decent opposition. So I think that'll be the best test to see how he's going to line up and how he's going to approach hopefully the start of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I'd love to see a bit more attacking from Wolves. I really enjoyed watching them the season they came up and the season before that, actually.
Yeah.
And their second season, but the last two, is it 1 or 2 seasons? Is this your 4th or 5th?
This one will be our 4th back.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
So the last season, it was dire with all due respect. It was
the season before, Wolves, one of the best teams to watch. Really enjoyed watching them.
The first season back was like we just taken that momentum from the championship season. Just like even against the big teams, like normally if you say, right, you're going to sit 11 men behind the ball, you're going to think it's going to be a rubbish game to watch. But we did that. But every time we got the ball, we were just bombing forward, and it was just like mad to watch. And season after, obviously, we were in the Europa League, where we still played. Like even I was worried about that season, but like we still finished 7th at the end of that season, and we should have got Europe. We were 5th before lockdown. I think we were 5th and 2 points outside the top 4. And after the restart, we just went downhill. And then since then, we just didn't recover. Like even last season, I don't know how we approached those games like we did. We lost 2 or 3 times by 4 goals last season, which is just unheard of. Yeah. Even if we were losing. For
a defensive team, that is.
Yeah. We lost 4-0 against West Ham, 4-0 against Burnley, 4-0 against Liverpool.
I didn't realise 4-0. I don't think Burnley have ever scored 4 goals in one game.
Chris would hat-trick as well.
Using my fantasy team that week.
Yeah. I remember that. Sam did me that week.
Yeah, so it was just one of them, and we've always been pretty sound defensively, even if we were losing games. It was only by the odd goal, but to have that many big defeats was a concern. So yeah, I'm hoping it's a bit of a change next season, a refresh, and hopefully something different for the fans as well.
I've got to ask one question about a member of the attacking selection, because me and Sam, we often discuss about Traore, and Sam's opinion is he's a good FIFA player. He's good to have on FIFA.
I personally don't think if Adama Traore wasn't good on FIFA, not as many people would rate him. I think he's I've seen him run in a straight line and he's strong, but other than that, apart from a few flashes, I'm not entirely sure what he does.
I'm sort of inclined to it. I just wanted to know, from a Wolves fan's point of view, where do you stand on Adama Traore? Because I obviously Sam said he's strong, he's quick, but like he doesn't get the numbers. He doesn't really get too many. Like, how long did he go almost all season last year without getting an assist or a goal?
Yeah, ages. In the league, I think he maybe got 1 goal, 1 assist, something like that.
So where do you stand on him?
It's hard.
Well, you don't stand on him, but you
on his toes,
you don't do it.
He'd bench press me, I think.
Yeah.
No, he's I like him, but I can understand why people don't rate him, and I can understand why there's a divide on him. I was on a Liverpool channel talking about him because they've been linked with him a little bit, and I think if Wolves valued him a little bit cheaper, I think teams would snap him up. Like Chelsea and Liverpool are interested in him, but Wolves still want like 40 million plus for him. And half our fan base thinks that's the right price, and half of the fan base are thinking, snap anyone's arm off for that. Because I think the thing is with Adama, if you actually watch him play, he's like, on his day, which last season wasn't very often, on his day, he's genuinely unplayable.
Yeah, like a couple of seasons ago, didn't he ripped Man City apart.
Yeah, that's him and Jimenez. When Jimenez was fit, they had like the best goal combinations between like a duo. I know Kane and Son absolutely smashed that this season or the season before. But they had a really high amount of combinations together, and obviously because Jimenez has been missing last season, he struggled with that. But I said to that Liverpool fan, I said, it's how you as a club, if you were to buy him, how you can say to your fans, right, we spent 40 million on this player, but then you look at his stats and he's only got 2 goal contributions to the whole.
Almost as if how do you justify the money?
Exactly that. Yeah. So that's what I think. If he had another season where he got 10 goals and assists plus last season, Wolves could warrant getting 50, 60 million possibly for him. But after last season, you can't sell that to any fan base that we've just signed a player for this much with this goal contribution. So I'm a big fan of him, but he does need to up that end product. Really, it's improved since we signed him 100%. It's improved a lot, but still not good enough at the moment. He was all right yesterday. His first couple of games back at the weekend, he was good, but just needs to add that end product to his game.
Yeah. I'm looking at your first 5 fixtures. And,
it's not pretty.
It's really not, particularly the first 3.
Yeah,
not pretty at all. Tottenham, I feel like, depending on, I mean, it's a bit of a mess, isn't it, at the moment? At the time of recording, it's come out today that Harry Kane has not turned up.
He didn't turn up for training, did he? No.
So it's a bit of a mess. So if Kane is City bound, which it looks potentially like he is, Tottenham could be in a bit of a mess, and that could potentially be a winning fixture. Even Leicester at home, Leicester are one of these teams. They usually, I don't know. I feel like
they'll turn up against the big boys, won't they?
Yeah, I feel like.
And not to say Wolves aren't a big team, but yeah, they sort of switch off when it comes to teams that in their caliber or below.
I sort of feel Leicester could be caught out this year, particularly on opening day, with a sort of mentality perhaps of like, oh, we're one of the top 6 now. I know they've bottled top 4 2 seasons in a row, but I don't know. Maybe that if you can win that one on opening day, then I mean, who knows? Who knows? It's all to do with the new manager impetus and all that. I think a lot of teams are going to feel that this season. I mean, Everton, who else? Palace have got new manager.
Palace, yeah.
Spurs have got new manager. We could see some teams at the top, towards the top of the table, who you just wouldn't expect to be towards the top of the table after about 6 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. I think what it's, we've been talking about the fixture list a lot, and like you say, our first 3 fixtures: Leicester, Spurs, Man U, and I think it's going to be hard for the new manager because he's a name that's coming. He's not got a vast experience, so there's still a lot of people that need convincing. The fan base at the moment is pretty negative just because of how rubbish last season was, and the business at the moment hasn't been that great. So he's got to, at the very least, put on decent performances in those first 3 games, even if we don't win, because otherwise there's going to be, early pressure on him straight away.
Yeah, but like, if you get spanked 4-0 in the first season,
exactly. But like, if you look after the United game, I think there's a stretch from the end of August all the way to about November, where it's like teams that you would probably predict to be bottom half.
Yeah.
So like, genuinely, there's a stretch of games there where Wolves by November could, you wouldn't be surprised to see him knocking on the door for top 4.
Yeah.
But, that's on paper.
Yeah.
But like you say, the Leicester game, we've had some pretty good games against them since we've got promoted. We always play them quite early in the season. I think 3 of our 4 seasons, we played them as our first away game. Spurs, Nuno's first away game is he's back at Molineux for the first time, obviously since he left, which is mad, really.
Interestingly, what do you think the reception will be like?
I think it'll be fairly positive. I've got a weird feeling people are going to chant his name and all sorts of rubbish. It's going to be. I've got a weird feeling they're going to, but it's our first home game under the new manager is against Nuno, which is going to. It's you couldn't write it really. It's strange, but I think it'll be positive. I don't think there was no real. There was a portion of the fan base that wanted him to go, but there was no real malice or anything towards him really. And against United as well, we have pretty good games. We've never been spanked by United, so those first 3 games definitely can get something out of those. And
I love that often.
We've
never been spanked by United.
We haven't been spanked by them, so no reason to start now.
Mate, I'm always overly positive.
Makes a difference. You try being a Swansea fan.
Yeah, oh man,
that's get kicked out you from an early age. That does. I'm sort of asking everybody when they come on, who you think the star player will be this season.
Man to watch.
Oh, we said that same time then.
We did, didn't we?
Insane.
Man to watch. Like I said, I think Gibbs White's got a good. I'm gonna say Gibbs White instead of Morgan. Gibbs White is
Morgan.
He's got an outside shout to be one of the surprise packages this season. And I said it last season about a player and it didn't pay off. But genuinely, England's so strong now. But 21s especially. Is he older than that now? 21. You've got England 21 or possibly even senior squad call up, possibly if he carries on and has a good form. If not, Jimenez, because like you said, we missed him massively last season. Even before he got injured, he scored 4 goals in 10 games, which, throughout the rest of the season, that's like 50, if he carried on in that form, 15 plus goals, which is, very good form for a striker. So we need him back. We need him back firing. And hopefully Jimenez is the main man again.
Yeah. I've earmarked, and you might really disagree with me as a Wolves fan, but I don't know. Just didn't think he turned up for the price tag last year. Feel he might be due a big season. Fabio Silva. I know he scored 102 in pre-season.
Yeah.
So maybe under Bruno Lage, we might see a different Fabio Silva.
Fingers crossed. I know Lage and a couple of his staff members have had previous experience with Fabio Silva, so know him quite well. And if we play two up top, he's going to get much more opportunities to play with Jimenez, who's a more experienced striker. I like him a lot. I think, again, he got a lot of stick last season, and but I think if you watch him and his work rate and off the ball movement is second to none, really. And
a lot of time that kind of stuff goes unnoticed,
massively,
really unnoticed.
Yeah. But he's just got to. I think it was you look at our sort of expected goals or whatever last season, and we just weren't creating the chances. Our midfield was not getting the ball up to the front men, playing so deep, but his work rate, off the ball movement, even yesterday's goal against Coventry, I know it's against a team lower division, but just moves away from the defender. And he's got about 10 yards of space around him. It's easy tapping for him. So if he's doing movement like that, he's going to grab double figures this season. So fingers crossed. It's going to be a big season.
The thing that struck me about Fabio Silva last year was, I don't know, everybody sort of expected him to come in, this 30 million sign or whatever it was, 35, and just blow away the Premier League at what, 18, 19, is he?
Yeah.
Something like that. And
he's only just turned 18, I think.
Yeah. It doesn't help that Jimenez was injured as well. He was fully just thrust into that.
Exactly.
First choice striker.
They said that basically it was signing Silva, and they would never expect him to be first choice last season. Like, he was going to get like 5-10 minutes here and there just to get him used to the Premier League. And he's bulked out a lot now. He looks a lot bigger and stronger, which I think he needed. But like you said, but then you got United, who spent the exact same amount on someone like Diallo. No one has said anything about him being the same. I know he's not like an out and out striker, but they've spent the same amount of money on him, and no one's spoke about it really. So, and there's loads of players around the world, same sort of fee. So,
I think the English media is there's a lot to be said about how they treat the young players as well. With the
it's
fees
a smaller
and stuff.
club as well. Like,
exactly.
It is our record transfer. If like Chelsea or City had spent that much, nothing would be said. So I'm hoping the next year or two we can silence a lot of critics.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Just quickly before we go, because we are running out of time. You finished 13th last year. Are you willing to put your neck on the line? Give us a number where you think you're going to finish.
Right. There's me being optimistic, and then there's me being just stupid now. So I'm going to be, let's say 8th place. That's an optimistic. I think that's optimistic. So I'll say 8th place.
8th.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. I do quite like watching Wolves. I hope they get back to their.
I do. I really do.
Yeah. So 8th, fingers crossed. I'm willing to get behind that one. Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for coming, mate.
Pleasure to chat to you. Would you like a couple of moments just to plug your page where people can find you?
Yeah, so it's at Talking Walls, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, just type in Talking Walls and you'll find us. So yeah, thanks guys.
Lovely stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah, thank you for joining us. And thank you guys for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with it's either Chelsea or Newcastle. I think it's Chelsea, but you'll find out. Just come back here and find out. Yeah, thank you for listening. Dave, thank you again for joining.
My pleasure. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
I'll see you tomorrow, mate.
You'll see me tomorrow. See me through the window. All that business. Yeah.
Ta-ra.
Take care.
Thanks for listening.